Hi guys. All right, it's on the. All right, so basically today I started considering uh, so after 160 YouTube videos, we crossed 160. I was supposed to talk about this with the last video, but I ended up discussing the whole growth thing and consistency when it comes to YouTube and the couple of things that I'm trying to kind of like evolve into. But so what I have been doing over the past week was like adding more of the experimentation thing when it comes to YouTube, and I've been trying over the past 3 weeks to a month, ever since the people contacted me in order for them to kind of like support my. I want to support my channel. They just wanted money, man, and they wanted me to work with them, and they wanted me to pay them before they actually show me any work. And they introduced me. What I remember when I got to a meeting with them, and I wanted to meet a designer. And so one was a content creator, he couldn't speak a word of English. One was a copywriter, he couldn't speak a word of English. I tried speaking to him, he kept doing this. And I was like, okay, this is not shady at all. Or at the very least, this is not kind of, it's unimpressive. Like, you're on a meeting with me. What's the point if you're just going to nod like this anytime I'm speaking to you? And the second thing was basically, I want to say they just kind of like were rushing me to work with them and pay them. They weren't really trying to show me what they can do or any of that shit. And I get it, man. I don't have that intense of a YouTube channel. And I need support and I need help and I need a lot of things. But like you messaged me and I was like, okay, so that triggered something in my head. It's about time I evolve when it comes to YouTube or and if ish, all these kinds of things. So while I was actually like trying to have a conversation with them, engage things, what happened was they kind of like gave me a mini presentation of what are the things that they would do. Naturally, given my nature, I was taking notes. Now, I really was taking notes just to understand what the next level would look like, so I could understand if I'm working with people what it would be. Like my origin of like starting, because I started reading more about computer science and coding and programming in order to understand how to tell programmers what I actually want. So that was more like business analysis from the ground up instead of like the business down. So I wanted to understand how to communicate to like programmers. And then from there, I became one and I became a web developer. And then I became basically, I'm becoming a software engineer. I am a software engineer. I'm just like really not pro, not even pro, man. I am definitely like, I think like a pro. I just haven't done enough stuff for the professional in me to come out. I say that with all the humility in the world because the level that I want to be at when it comes to these things is much higher than what I see it as now. So basically, whether I'm good or not really doesn't matter because really what I want to do is what matters. And there's still a few things I have to like achieve before that becomes the reality. But they're happening super fucking soon. Amazing. By this time next year, by this time, no, by mid next year, I would have already like I was significantly achieved a significant amount of my goals, which we would discuss in January 1st because December is going to be one of those like intense months. And when I say intense, it's just a lot's going to be happening, but it's just going to be a normal day for me. That's exactly what happens all the time. But anyways, so today's video is because I actually took a step forward and I started searching on the net of how I can improve things about YouTube. One of which was the taglines. I was doing basic taglines. Naturally, I asked ChatGPT and then I Googled a couple of YouTube videos. I spent like an hour just going back and forth trying to understand what are the things that people speak about when it comes to like monetizing, strengthening, what's the algorithm like, what are the things you can say, you can't say on YouTube in order for the YouTube algorithm to kind of like take your stuff. And I realized there's like a 30 to 45 second at the beginning of YouTube where anything you say is actually kind of like taken into consideration, recorded or something like this. And then from there, you're either monetized or not. And I found as well, like these are the words that you use that are kind of like taken and expressed and shown and revealed. And there's a certain way you have to write your title. Now, one I will discuss in like a second. But it's about a lot of stuff that you have to consider, which is fun. Like, I knew there were stuff that I have to consider in order for metrics and all kinds of like advice, but I really didn't think it was as intense as I would want it as it can be. Like, people literally that's what they do. But anyway, so I downloaded an app, and I can see the entire page of the app is just beautiful, and basically allows you to connect to YouTube through the app. So I can actually manage YouTube. It's called vidIQ. I personally like it, and there's a whole lot of like between like they give you even daily ideas for content to make. I feel like people tend to become the whole. Yeah, it showed me how much of a machine YouTube is. And what do I mean by machine? I mean like literally this app will tell you about the content that you can create to get to get to a successful level, and a successful level as a YouTuber. Now, I want you guys to remember, I'm not a fucking YouTuber. No, what I'm trying to do is utilize YouTube, right? So like this is a good software to use. It's just not, I'm not looking for ideas. I literally want to just get up and blab. But one of the things that caught my eye was how important it is for the actual like for titles to be for the titles to be used. So one of the videos that I have, I think video 145, I titled it "Crossing the Line," and it's about people, relationships, self-actualization, reflection, and friendship. So I have this pattern where I actually kind of like write the top 5 things: the context, uh, the goal of the video, the action that I'm taking in order to like kind of like build the video on top, the intent behind the video, the concept, the context of why I'm having this video, and the overall like why this video is a thing. All right. So people is basically reflecting directly on the fact that like it's a video about people. Relationships is the context, is a relationship I have with a friend of mine and me actually having a conversation with her. Self-actualization is the intent because like when you're with friends, you want to get better at yourself. And reflection as you reflecting on the conversation from one way or another. And the goal basically is to create a friendship and to actually have like an actionable thing. It's just like become friendlier. So the video details, this is basically the title. But then this app recommends titles for you, and these titles are recommended by naturally an AI. And they are the catchy ones that allow people to kind of want to listen to your videos, to actually want to kind of like, that make people want to go like, I want to click the clickbaity thing. And so listen to this. The shocking truth about crossing the line revealed. 5 ways crossing the line can ruin relationships. Unlocking your true potential. The power of crossing the line. Friendships tested. The consequences of crossing the line. The ultimate guide to self-reflection. Crossing the line for personal growth. What's funny about this stuff is literally that, uh, I mean, what I was talking about kind of might vibe with like 1 or 2 of these titles. But then for such a title, I literally would have to, or that's how I'm thinking about it. I would have to kind of like decide the title before I decide the video. That's not how I do it. But then it got me thinking because like I for myself, I'm not really like taking these videos and assessing them as I would want. But if I would actually start recording longer videos, or at the very least these videos, I started considering again like there's this that I'm doing, and then there's basically some different official like I know there are other two YouTube channels that I'm going to be using because it's one is for the actual platform that I have to create because I'm building the community for that purpose, right? And the other one is probably because I kind of want to take snippets of everything that I'm saying and be able to kind of like throw them out there and like be creative when it comes to the things that I do. So I feel like my point, the way I have to evolve should be guided with how YouTube actually works. And I don't really like how YouTube is working so far because it feels very generic. But it is literally a game. It's like if you do these things, then you get enough data, and then when you get this data, you kind of like go and you start adding different values or putting different things in the process, whatever. So You basically, it's a testable thing, just fascinating and amazing. But overall, it's a testable thing. And for now, here we are kind of like, we started a new level of experimentation and we started a new level of like conceptualizing. And the beauty of this is basically you kind of take a step, and the first thing that you do is kind of like allow that step to sink in. Although I really think it's a leap, because in everything that you're doing, you're kind of taking those jumps, and maybe they're mini jumps, maybe they're actual jumps, because like jumping from no YouTube to YouTube is a jump, but it's still only towards YouTube. Because overall, jumping to YouTube and being able to YouTube stuff is literally me just taking a leap into a completely different like area that's still closer to where I want to be. So like there's not one thing that you're doing, but it's one thing on the grander scale, and then you're kind of like leveling up in a more. You kind of have to like consider the horizontal leveling up that you're doing, because you're adding these skills and you're including all these things that are a part of your vertical level of leveling up, because there's the direction that you're going and the overall vision that you're coming close to, which is like the one that's straightforward, and then everything you kind of have to accomplish from the sides in order to get there. But hey, we're on a different level, and I wanted to share that because it's the reason why I started these videos. And I think the next videos I will be directly talking about, I think, the law of inversion and basically how engineers kind of like reverse engineer things, and how I actually decided on my idea, and why I decided to use that approach, and how I wanted to flesh it out. But till then, dude, I'm completely like enjoying this vibe, the level, and the voice notes that I'm sending myself recently have been more like consistent, like reminders and realizations, because everything's been changing a bit too like cutely. So yeah, let's do this. Thank you guys. Bye.